everyone, and welcome to Concordia University's Fourth Space. And thank you for joining us for today's event, which is a special live version of podcast Northern with Beatrice and Tanya Innaarulik. Now, just to help situate you, we are streaming to YouTube, and we are live from Fourth Space, and we are located here on unceded Indigenous lands in Tiohtià:ke, Montreal. Here at Fourth Space, we work with our university community to help mobilize knowledge, co-create daily activities, examine research questions, projects, things happening across the university. And we're running today's event as a live stream Zoom meeting also. So if anyone has any questions or comments, just pop them into the chat there. We might have a Q&A a little bit at the end, and we can read those out if you have those, and that's great. Those of you here in the space, kind of the same thing. If you have any questions, just raise your hand, and we'll bring a microphone over to you later on. Okay. Enough from me. It's now my pleasure to hand things over to one of our hosts from the Northern Podcast, Beatrice. Everyone, welcome in.
Yay. Yeah, you can clap.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us here at Fourth Space. I'll introduce my co-host here, Tanya Innaarulik.
Woo!
And we have a special guest, Juurini, Joey Partridge.
Yay!
So happy to have him. And of course, our wonderful bandmate and Northern co-star, Christopher McCarron.
Woo!
He doesn't have a microphone, so
I won't be talking.
no talking, no comments from him today. It's not important. Anyways, thank you so much. We're very excited to be here with you. Thank you for joining us. The Inuit Art Symposium officially started today, and it's so fun to see so many people, familiar faces in the Inuit art world. Very exciting. So thank you for sharing your time with us right now. So today, before we go any further, I'm sure you have heard about the tragedy that happened in Inuit Innaarulik, where twin brothers were in an incident where one of them was killed by a police officer and the other was severely injured. So before we go further, I would like to have a moment of silence in respect for the Papiqattuq family, for Joshua, Papiqattuq, and Garnet, who's at the hospital. Thank you. We face a lot of hard times as Inuit and Indigenous people, but we support each other, and we have beautiful things that we share and experience as well. So we're going to highlight music today with our guest, Joey. I'm so happy that he accepted to be with us. Tanya, do you have anything to say?
Well, of course he accepted. I'm his boss.
And why are you his boss?
Because I'm not his boss. No, we're a team. But Joey and I have been together for 10.5 years now. He is the love of my life. Aww. Love. Yeah, and no crying.
Tanya's pretty famous for crying on our show.
We all know.
I am too.
Yeah.
And I forgot to bring a box of Kleenex.
I got you.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we're going to share this napkin.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess you maybe start
Okay.
slowly enough.
Okay. All right, let me introduce Joey. Okay, let's start with Joey. Can you tell us I know where you come from, but can you tell our guests and our listeners where you come from?
Hey, nagkumitamani hatigut si nagkumitamani hatigun lama. Joey Partridge. Good job. May inulok sa matsunga. Pigok sa matsungalu. Ismenal upigiya nanipis mga pisimanira inulok sa manira good job ismen ilitariya ginaw na kan. So my name is Joey Partridge, born and raised in Kujua. I now reside here in Montreal for past 12, 13 years now. And I'm very grateful to be part of this podcast and to be able to also talk about music and Inuit studies and talk about the realities of our communities, of our people, and to really understand. Most importantly, so I'm very greatly appreciative to have been invited for this. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna be asking you some questions about music. So, when did you learn to play music? How old were you?
Just recently, actually. When I was growing up as a young boy, I used to listen to radio a lot, community radio, and I used to have the radio close to my ear and try to, and I really, it really interested me, but unfortunately my young childhood life was not, like I didn't really have any guidance or any motivation to actually look into getting help and learn music. I've never, up until today, I've never really had a music teacher, singing teacher. I've really kind of learned everything on my own just by listening and looking at individual artists and videos and listening to different types of music, especially Inuit music. So for me, I started about 2015, 16. I purchased my first guitar and I was like, okay, I need to learn something because this is always something that I always wanted to do. And unfortunately, again, with my path and not really having anything growing up, I was kind of shy and not knowing exactly how to ask, and so I was kind of in that moment when I was growing up. And now, since I kind of understand these situations, I'm able to actually talk about it and ask for support and help. So I started learning mainly on YouTube on my own and started really trying to understand about basic notes and basic keys and how to strum the guitar and kind of finger picking at the same time. So 2017 was where I kind of jumped into a more reality of really learning and understanding about where to go with music. And 2018 was the first time that I actually walked into a studio for the very first time, and I was so amazed to really see what it feels like to be, especially around people that knows and understand music. And of course, in the beginning, it's very hard. So I started working on one song, ᕿᓐᓂᕋᔮաթតុᅅ, which went really incredibly well. It went far. I would never, like if I was a teenager back in the time, I would never imagine of me being in this type of situation. But when that song came out and it really had impacted so many different communities, and it only motivated me to be able to learn more and to push more, to make more music and make more songs. So I'm greatly appreciative of even from myself too, but if Tanya has also given me so much support and
What's so amazing is that Joey and I were together for many years before I had ever really heard him sing. Like So when he busted out with these songs, I was like, whoa, who are you? Like, not only that though, Joey is incredibly talented as a singer, but I think something that's even more special is that he is, without a doubt, I'll just give it every word that it deserves, is he is a male Inuit poet. He is the most articulate man I have ever heard speak, sing words that have so much importance, not only for all of us as a community, but for men who are often left behind, for men who are often shamed for speaking their feelings, for men who are taught to be tough and strong. Joey is, I'm not crying.
It's also the experience and the life that I had growing up that made me more understand of what approach I should have, especially as a person, and to be able to know. I'm still really grateful that I still have knowledge and understand how to approach Inuit, and growing up from elders had helped me even more.
That's a big thing about Joey too, is he was raised by elders, so he has this elevated Inuit. He has this
Wisdom.
yeah, and a very, you know, Inuit is Joey's first language, and then it's French, and then it's English. So sometimes I feel like when people get to meet him, and you meet him in one of his second or third languages, you don't get the essence of who Joey is, because in our language, he's so beautiful. He captivates people when he speaks, most especially our elders. So it's not only his talent, he's gifted with being able to speak these beautiful, wise words. He's gifted with
well, I think growing up watching my father carve while telling a story, and understanding what Inuit went through, especially way before Haluna started coming into our communities, and you know, they would talk about all the stories that shamans would talk about, and their grandfathers would speak about the realities before Haluna started coming in, and missionaries and churches, and you know, Hudson Bay Company and all of those people that landed in our territories, especially through colonization, but most importantly also my both parents that I was adopted to through my grandparents were survivors through residential school, and you know, I consider myself as a survivor too. So that's why I also try to demonstrate exactly what it's like, and understanding the pain and the trauma. And today I try to use that as an example to be able to actually speak up and talk about the realities and the pain that is within our community. So look, I do know how to carve, I do know how to you know, do some things in an Inuit way, but I'm not much of a hunter, but at the same time I do keep my knowledge, and I do keep and respect exactly the approach of being Inuit and Inuk.
So we all know Joey as a musician, but he has a day job, which is not an easy job. He's the director of the. Can you explain what your job is and what you do. You don't have to make it long. This really relates to Joey, how incredibly kind he is.
And what he's balancing while producing this absolutely incredible music. Another thing that's I think we should mention is that he's so good. He's so good that this magnificent
He's very humble.
Yeah.
Like, no, really,
Yeah.
he's very humble.
Well, thank
these
you.
magnificent songs. Like, for example, he wrote a beautiful love song about our story, which is...
Oh yeah, we're gonna hear that.
Yeah.
We're gonna hear that.
We're gonna hear it, but
Yeah.
he was, the night before he was going to record that song, he went downstairs in the basement and he wrote it. And then the next day he went into the studio, and it's one of the most touching. So this is what's so special about him too, is that he can balance all these things. Very heavy work he does as his 9-to-5 job, very, very busy work that he does with me, and then to find time to nurture his creativity, to put the energy and love into these songs that he shares with his people, that he is so passionate about because they're so important.
And I think being sober has a lot to
Yeah.
do with that, because like who can
Yeah.
to be so productive, you need a lot of energy, and I think being sober has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, we used to be alcoholics.
Yeah. Used to be.
Yeah.
Used to be.
So yeah, your job.
Like I explained, growing up understanding the realities in our communities, the pain and the hurt and the traumas, generational trauma, and passed on generational trauma from one generation to the other. I understand, especially here today, that we have homelessness that we don't really see in our communities. Unfortunately, now we do in our communities, but we never really used to see that growing up. Because Inuit is, being together and working together, finding ways together, never leaving one behind. But today it's visible than what it was like before, 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. But at the same time, this gave me an opportunity to also try to motivate myself to be as impactful as much as possible because of the experience and understanding of the realities in our community. So yes, I'm the director of Reaching Home Urban Inuit with Makivik. My main role is to work on behalf of vulnerability and homelessness. And I've been working in this environment for the last 6 years. I started off as just a regular urban worker and being there for community and going around and helping out within our community, and then homeless population has grown definitely kind of in a very hard way since I've started. So it only motivates me to continue being a good person because of the path that I had growing up. Unfortunately, I went through a hard life as well and a hard path. And I understand that deep pain, and especially trying to speak up and ask for help and support. Sometimes it's very difficult and hard to really ask. There's hardly any services, real services available that would really help with these traumas in our communities. Yes, we kind of do have wraparound services, but we really don't have Inuit psychologists or Inuit that really are capable of working on trauma. There's some people, but there's not much available in a lot of communities. So what I've been able to do is to work on behalf of our community, work on behalf of Makivik, and be able to be there and support and guide our community, hopefully, into a better path. And we do help bring individuals back to their communities, and not just sending them back to their community, but also finding the real support so that they don't have these, they don't have the mentality of wanting to come back. It's important to have a wraparound service if we're going to help somebody that's been on the street for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and just trying to help this individual to get back to the community is already really, really huge, but need a real support to help them. So we've been, it's not only me, it's my team, it's everyone around me, and that's been really pushing, especially the guidance from our president, Beatrice, who's really been supportive in many, many ways, because he also understands. And so, yes, I work 9 to 5, but I still do work from 5 to midnight when I get home, and I have very limited time to concentrate on music and other stuff. But I do give a little bit of time to work on some sort of input into music. And like Tanya said, yeah, that my first song, I was told, okay, you're gonna be going to the studio tomorrow, get ready. I was like, I don't even have anything prepared. No, that song that you kind of let me hear about, get that done and then go to the studio tomorrow. I said, sure, okay.
All
then,
right. I want to hear it. We want to hear it. Let's hear it.
Sure.
So with the tiny little time that he has, like 5 minutes a day probably, he writes hits, hit after hit. So
Well, the song is about me, so duh.
let's hear it.
That's something I English. Yo. Yeah. Oh.
Amazing. So how has music helped you, Joey?
Oops, sorry.
Well, that's very touching for me sometimes. You know, music is just not music to your ears. It's just not something that you listen to, and there's a lot of things behind music, especially when you have so much hurt, and sometimes we feel alone. Sometimes there's nobody listening to us, or we're like alone in our own bubble sometimes. And music, when I was growing up, had really helped me to keep continuing with my life and to try and survive, through the hardship of the realities in the community and the family and the people around you. For me, music, it helps me in so many ways because, again, I feel like I'm a survivor again in so many different ways and so many different levels. And to be able to just get out of my own comfort zone and, go somewhere where I can really, that's why sometimes you see me close my eyes so that I can really go somewhere and just look for that, some sort of a peace that I'm trying to look for, to be able to not only guide me, but to really support me to have a better understanding what life should be about and what life should look like, and to have a better impact, especially through words, because when we just tend to speak so fast and not really understanding what we're trying to say, it's not really something that music provides. And for me, it gives me so much more motivation because I'm able to see so many different things and I'm able to hear so many different sounds, but most importantly, recognizing where I am from, where Inuit are from, all the obstacles and pain that they had to take and without any purpose, unfortunately. And music has given me a better energy to try and support younger generations that might be going through something, because I recognize that I was in that environment too, where I felt alone. I felt there was no support and there was really lacking something, and I do see that in so many youth today. And it just motivates me to find words, because for me, music, it's not about being known, being famous, or having an ego, or looking into monetary purpose, or it's not for me. For me, for me, music, it's giving back at least very small portion of myself and hoping that I'm able to at least help somebody that might be going through something. So music has so much impact in so many different ways, so it also helps me to be able to understand that.
Amazing. Can you play us another song?
Sure.
Please.
Namin na.
What about the first song you wrote? Saimanik?
Okay. And
Saimanik means, well, how would you translate it?
when I started writing that, I know Simon, in term it says peace, peacefulness, being surrounded by positive and just humble energy around, and not having to look into complicated and hard situations, but really trying to understand what peace is about. Being at peace, finding that joy, when I started writing that song before I recorded it, and I tried looking into how will I be able to help somebody and relate it, and have somebody relate to that song. And at least if I can use some words and make lyrics where it will have a very small portion of impact towards somebody. And that's all I ask for, is if I can help somebody very minimum, in a very small way, that's very humbling for me. That's very, I'm very grateful that I'm actually able to use my voice, use my energy, give guidance to youth, and even sometimes to people that are older than me, elders as well, because growing up from elders and understanding what it was like in the past, because elders were mostly respected and looked up to, but unfortunately today the new modern way of living has changed. So I was looking into how I can find the lyrics and find those words. So growing up, I grew up outside the community. I didn't really grow up in the community. Only when I was probably 12, 13 years old, we walked into a home that has electricity.
Because you grew up in a cabin, right?
So at 2 years old, my parents took me, and they ran away from a violent situation and went out, camp out in a tent. So I grew up in a tent, in the beginning of my very early baby steps of my life, and becoming more of a boy than not a child. We went into hakmak, and then hakmak is like a
half tent, half cabin.
Half cabin, yeah. And then my father built a cabin for us. And I grew up. It's also in one of my songs, ᕿᓐᓂᕋᔮաթ뚜ᑅ. It explains also waking up early in the morning, and turning the fire stove on because it's cold. It's getting cold, and I would have to do that most of my childhood with my brother and my sister. And I grew up in a tent where I was able to find that peace. And going back to that memory, really made me understand more how to approach this song that I'm trying to make, and really find the words to put in line where if I can find that peace again just by closing my eyes, and that memory that I can relate to again, even though that I'm not that person anymore growing up, and just closing my eyes and just finding that peace within, because we all do have that inner child. And sometimes our inner child is hurt, and we need to be able to forgive this inner child and work with that inner child that we have within us, so that we're able to understand how to function as human beings, but most importantly, understand so many different aspects that are around us. If it's animals, if it's nature, if it's waters, if it's the land, if it's the people and the language, then for me, I tried really relating to that. So growing up, waking up in the tent, and the first thing that you wake up to is the smell of the fume of the stove, wood stove that is burning, and you can only hear the birds outside, whispering and singing, and that sound where you just have that peacefulness. So going back to that, I started saying, okay, that's very so for me, I think that's gonna have some sort of impact, because I can see that it will relate to so many people, especially Inuit. So here's Saimanak that I wrote for the very first time in the studio. Yeah.
Amazing.
That's ᕿᓐᓂᕋᔮաթតុᅅ, and I do want to dedicate this to, especially for Saluit and the family and everyone around, and to hopefully find that peace and, find that ground where you have support and the guidance and be surrounded by people so that you're not feeling alone. And to everyone that might be going through something, I do really dedicate this to each and every one person that is out there, people that might be looking for that peace and trying to understand how to try and find it. And then for me, like I said, if I can help in a very small way, that's all I care for, and that's all I want, is to at least help you in a very small, big way,
Thank you. Joey and I want to mention that Joey was nominated for an ATSISC award recently. ATSISC is very big here in Quebec, and it's the French Music Awards. And for Joey, who started making music very recently, that's an incredible accomplishment. Yes.
He was nominated under 3 categories.
3 categories.
I mean,
That's incredible.
like when you try to imagine where I came from and what I've gone through and all the obstacles that I had to face, and to try and change my life and sobering up and trying to be a role model and have an impact in communities. For me, I've never really, think about awards or anything like that, but to be nominated is already something very, very big. And I'm very grateful to all the people that supports me and motivates me to keep making music. And I encourage, because I know there's younger generations that are also in the music world, especially in our communities, in our Inuit communities, Inuit Nunanga as a whole, in all 4 regions in Canada and going into Greenland and Alaska, and all throughout Inuit Nunanga. For me, just keep pushing and follow your dream and motivate yourself to, don't think about wanting something back because you're doing something, because we're always rewarded regardless of what our path is. And for me, just by getting nominated, I'm very humbly, greatly appreciative to each and everyone that listens to my music and all the radios that are playing my songs. And now I've just been nominated to Music Folk Awards, Canadian Folk Awards. Thank you so much. In contemporary
Album of the Year,
Yeah.
which is not an indigenous category. So
but
that's like,
it's, general.
yeah,
He's in the
amazing.
big league.
So I'm very grateful. But for me, like I said, I do this to try and help someone, and it's also in my gene to be, someone that will be pushing for somebody, and to speak for somebody, to sing for somebody, to have a voice for somebody that might not be able to speak up, and to try and help somebody that might be vulnerable. But most importantly, to not see someone in vulnerability, but in, because I do understand all of this, and doing music for me, it's, like I said, it's at least if I can be as helpful as I can, and these awards are for the people and not for me. And if I do win in any way sometime in the future or somewhat, it's not for me, it's for the people. So
Yeah, even if you didn't win that at this, just being nominated makes us all winners, and we're extremely proud. And because of who you are, I wanted to collaborate with you on this song. I was commissioned by the Isuak Civic Recovery Center in Kuujjuaq for the official opening to write a song for the center that will become the anthem of the clients who successfully completed the recovery program in Kuujjuaq.
The program I've done.
Yes, Tanya completed that Isuak Civic program.
17 years ago.
17 years ago, hey? Amazing. Well, let's applaud that. For those of us who really struggled with alcoholism, being sober is so precious to us. And like, we're all here with our extremely difficult pasts and childhoods, and for us to be here doing what we love and to talk about it comfortably, openly, we're so grateful, and we're so grateful that you're also here listening and sharing too. So this is called Innaarulik. It's Let's Hold Hands. So I asked Joey to record. Sure. Well, you can see it from here.
Yeah, I haven't really practiced this song, but I played it in ᕿᓐᓂᕋᔮաթតុᅅ for the very first time with Beatrice in front of a crowd. And again, I do think Isuak Civic to have asked Beatrice to make a song, especially that will be used by the people that are trying to sober up and going through the program. And hopefully it does help at least to try and continue sobriety and find that path of sobriety. And I'm very, again, gladly appreciative to have accepted to be part of this song and to collaborate with Beatrice. It's something that I really looked up to, and like I've mentioned earlier, it's about the people, and if it's for that, I would never deny anything, and especially to an amazing singer like Beatrice dear, to have been asked to collaborate. Sure, yeah, it's wow.
Yeah, and if you don't understand the lyrics, the YouTube, there's a video of this song on YouTube with the English subtitles of the words. Isuak Civic Recovery Center, and the title is Innaarulik. So here goes.
Takalaw ko nga at sulaw ko nga, kasililaw ko nga, asiwalaw ko nga, inusira, di ko sibara, tay maubunga, makisibunga.
Innaarulik Ho'y mabunga Magsimula Biyarak ito Langang ito Ako di Ato siyara Ako di Ato siyara
Ikaw malanga Damahaloruma Aninakuma Ikaw malanga Bijutihama Ilinakuma Atutihakuma Nuname Tasiulaulu akinemo Tasiulaulu saimanemo Tasiulaulu ikuleatumo Tasiulaulu isoasilemo Tasiulaulu isoasilemo Tasiulaulu isoasilemo Isoasilemo
Thank you.
Yay!
So, we are going to have the last 5 minutes for questions. And we have t-shirts to give away to the first 3 questions. Before I forget, Sylvia, who's in the audience, was also a collaborator for this beautiful song. I should have invited you to throat sing, but next time. Amazing. All
I
right.
didn't even see you there, Sylvia. We should have invited you now.
So if you have any questions, do raise your hand.
Uh-oh.
All right, we have one here. Oh, there's okay in the back too. There's one in the front too.
You're in the front. You can go first.
I guess for everyone with a mic,
Sorry, not you.
if for any listeners for today and even myself, some special words to keep going. If you have anything to say. Not really a question, but if you could provide some.
Can I take this one? All right. So just to feel our feelings, whether if it's joy, confusion, sadness, anger, just try and let yourself feel everything without numbing yourself, without trying to distract yourself, and just let that feeling pass, trusting that it will pass. Because I find that when we try and suppress everything, that's when we start overloading ourselves and it's hard to go on. And it becomes a burden. and we become filled with resentment, whether if it's to that situation or to a person, and that resentment makes it very hard to continue our day-to-day things because it's so draining and it's heavy. So whatever feelings that we have, just feel them out. Allow yourself to feel. Cry about it if you have to, reach out to someone, but don't ignore, don't deny yourself of those feelings. And life is meant to be lived with joy and happiness. Yes, there are days of sorrow and grief, but ultimately we're meant to enjoy life.
And most importantly, as Inuit, and specifically Inuit, they've gone through hardships and hard environments, through hard cold weathers, and they didn't have what we have today, and for them to have pushed for us to be here today, and never to feel that we're alone. And what Beatrice has mentioned is everything, is that we shouldn't feel that we're alone, but we need to be able to feel that energy and try to understand how to work through that, and never feeling alone, because we do feel alone sometimes, but there's always something or someone or wherever you are, there's always that energy that will get to you, and hopefully find that.
We have like 1 minute. We'll get you a t-shirt. Hopefully they're the good sizes. All right.
Thank you guys so much. I really loved it. And just that, on that theme of like Saimak and Saimanek, and I think when we talk about mental health and stuff, it's great that we go to counseling and see psychologists and stuff, but like Western ways don't always like align. So what are some Inuit specific or like culturally relevant things that have helped you in your Saimanek journey?
So I do grief support training, facilitating, and with a wonderful psychologist that I work with, we've created a customized program for Inuit that's Inuit specific, using psychology and Inuit practices. So we were not, as Inuit, we hunt, we sew, we carve. We're very creative naturally, because that's how our ancestors have lived until now. So unawareingly, like for me, I didn't know that those were healing practices. When you learn to, when you use your cognitive part of your brain, your thinking brain, your creative brain, you're actually healing, because you're stepping away from the traumatic response part of the brain here in the back, and then you're using this. So that's very healing. So when we hunt, when we sew, when we go out in nature, when we're building something, that's actually very healing. So when people say, oh, being on the land is very, very healing, there's actually scientific proof that that is very healing. So yeah, you'll get a t-shirt. Any more questions? All right, way in the back.
Hello.
Hello.
Big fan of Tanya and all of you.
Oh, thank you.
I wanted to ask, like, Juurini, you were talking about growing up with elders. How do you find elders think differently than the generation that had to live sedentary? Like, they live nomadically. How do they think differently than us who live sedentary today?
Like I mentioned earlier, in the past, they didn't really have what we see today. They had to observe. They had to speak to one another and understand the lands, understand the animals, understand the weather, understand the environment. we still do today, but it was more different than it was in the past because there was no technology. There was a form of technology, is communication through one community to the other, one member to the other. That form of technology really helped to understand how to understand the dangers, the animals, the environment, the weathers and everything like that. So trying to understand the storytellings that they've made me understand, but also other people that had grown up with their grandparents, because a lot of us in this generation, we grew up more with our grandparents, and that we're kind of able to understand more than the new generation today because of the changes that has occurred, but the storytellings and the information are still there, but it was a little bit for me, and maybe for my generation and people that are a little bit older than me are able to understand the differences that we see today with elders and the elders that we had growing up. And of course the message and information is still there, so it's just to keep trying to understand how we can, use that to find that understanding with the differences, and most importantly the elders that are speaking, because again, unfortunately elders are lacking respect from the younger generations today than what we used to see in the past, and it has impacted the teachings, it has impacted the approach of an elder, because elders, they, it's not for a reason or nothing that we call them elders. They've lived longer than us on this earth, and they have more knowledge and they have more experience in so many different ways. But and that's what I try to encourage youth and younger generations, is to really listen to an elderly or someone older than them, and have respect and follow the guidance and the information that is behind that. So yeah.
I want to mention that adoption is very common in our people, and people like Joey who have been adopted by elders. Young people like Joey here carry a wisdom that us who were raised by our parents, biological parents, who were not elders, we don't have the same wisdom that these guys carry. And that's because elders carry so much wisdom. Inuit elders, because there's a difference between elders and seniors, because seniors may not always be wise. We joke about that, but it's also true. And elders, Inuit elders who grew up studying the environment. They may not have a university degree, but they're masters in the environment. And being raised by someone who carries so much wisdom and who has lived through a lifelong journey with all sorts of experience, who are able to be calm. And then imagine being raised by someone like that, who's emotionally regulated, who knows the ways before colonization, who knew the ways before colonization, and having that stability and strength and passing that on to a child. So I think that's why Joey is so strong and stable in spite of the hardship that he grew up in, and being able to give that to us through his music and just being who he is. We're so lucky to have Joey here with us, and I would love to go on and on and on, but that's all the time that we have. And any closing comments?
Yay me, I didn't cry.
That's the closing comment.
That's the first episode. That's get steak tonight. No, I don't know. I don't know. I just love, I just love everything and love you guys and love that we get to do this and love the questions and love the feedback and I love that we get to grow with you and learn from you and, you know, just explore other topics and also have this platform to send love and support to our people who are in deep, deep pain at the moment because it's what we're feeling too as a people, and so being able to do that and just let's keep healing, let's keep talking, let's keep growing, let's keep loving.
Keep making music.
Keep making music about me.
Oh.
Say you're four very inspiring individuals.
Thank
and
you.
I've seen you grow, and as a senior, I'm still learning.
You're an elder.
Anne Grace.
You deserve the elder title, Anne.
But I'm learning a lot from all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
Yay.
I'm an elder too.
Thank you so much.
But I understand a lot of everything that you're saying. I've walked the road. And I understand Joey as well, because I've been in some situation too. So it talks to me, and I truly understand. And I find you guys amazing.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you so much.
And
Yay.
just want to say thank you very much, Tanya and Beatrice,
Oh, you're
Chris.
welcome.
Thank you very much.
And this fourth
And
space.
thank you for the space for
And
having
Chris.
us here, and thank you everyone for being here. And again, remember that you're not alone, and that we're able to talk to one another and support one another. And my only message is to keep respect to one another and love one another, and try to help someone that might be in need. And as Inuit, that's who we are. And it's not only about hunting or surviving in a way, but really being together and giving that positive energy. And it's the only way to really look into healing, and do not be afraid. And you know,
Yo, baby.
we encourage each and everyone, and I'm very grateful to have been invited in this podcast.
Yay.
And with that, we say good night.
Okay. Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you, Tanya, Joey, Chris. It was great to have you in here. Thank you for bringing an episode of the podcast through Force-Space. Just going to let you know we're going to close up the Zoom, the live stream now, but this episode remains available on our YouTube channel. We're going to share it with you also, so we can join there. And thank you all for coming, and hope you have a great evening.
Okay.